by ministries. Therefore, it's time for responses. The member for Haldimand Norfolk.
Thank you, Speaker. The Premier's agri-food innovation excellence got a real nice ring to it, and it's a very important ceremony to pay tribute and to recognize those that are out there at the forefront. And as the Minister mentioned, a major agenda this year was NAFTA, presentations from the Deputy Ambassador, Kirsten Hellman, Michigan's Clover Adams, and Pennsylvania's Russell Redding. As we're fully aware, the change in administration south of the border has really put us in Ontario and across Canada in a position where we've got to up our game. Last May, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer gave note of intent to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, with both Canada and Mexico. He cited outdated regulation and standards. He stressed the need for high-paying jobs in the United States. President Trump has repeatedly stated he would tear up NAFTA. Now, such a move would require a sign-off from Congress, but however, the President can unilaterally sign executive orders regarding tariffs. Last spring, our federal government and many of the provinces scrambled to put together a bit of an effort to persuade U.S. states and the Trump administration to leave Canada out of these protectionist measures, and we recognize the work of this Ontario government with visiting many of the states that we work with and compete with. Saskatchewan Premier Brad Wall offered up his explanation of the importance of the cross-border supply chains we benefit from, and I quote, "Saskatchewan farmers buy John Deere tractors made in Iowa to harvest oats, then sold to General Mills in Cedar Rapids, turned into Cheerios, and exported back to Canada. That's how it works. The U.S. remains Ontario's primary destination for international merchandise exports, represents over 80% of our provincial total. So, as part of Canada, we in Ontario are part of the largest trading relationship in the world. No other country buys more goods and services that are made in the USA than does Canada, to the tune of something like $322 billion a year. And through that, and this came up at the ceremony the other day, Canada supports 9 million jobs in the United States. And NAFTA it's not only about buying and selling, it's also about cooperation and integration. The factories, the farms in both countries are linked through just-in-time supply chains that crisscross the border. Investment, productivity, competitiveness in both countries are by and large supported by harmonized regulation and common rules. I've attended, as the Minister, a number of meetings in the United States over the past year. I find state elected representatives, farmers, ranchers, are with us. We're of a like mind. They understand, realize the importance of trade, certainly in agri-food. Any growth in the agri-food economy in North America has been based on exports. That results in good-paying jobs. We bear in mind, however, we see the problems. We've lost, on all sides of the border, we have lost hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs. We are competing with, obviously, much lower wages in countries like Mexico and China. So NAFTA, the negotiations started August 16th. The uncertainty has been huge. It remains unknown where we're going. We hope that it's, I hope in a positive sense, that it's really a modernization of the agreement, and in my view, essentially move free trade to a system of fair trade. Isn't this really how our trade relationships are supposed to work? Trade dollars, they flow back and forth across the border, but in a balanced way and in a very fair way. There are so many statistics of the trading relationships between Ontario, the various states across the Union, our trading relationships with Mexico. And trade's a good thing. Like they say, the only bad trading agreement is the one you're not in. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Further members' response.